And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
Welcome in to RBLR Bucs here on RBLR Sports. I am Musab, and so glad you could join us again for another episode. June is wrapping up, meaning only 1 month stands in front of us before it's the first month of some Tampa Bay football. The thought of that has got me fired up right now. And I'll tell you this, if there are two people I think that are just as fired up as I am, honestly, maybe even more, that will be my two co-hosts tonight. To my right, ladies and gents, boys and girls, Santiago. What's up, brother? How we doing?
What's up, Musab? What's going on, RBLR Nation? Super excited here, to get talking about our Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Football season's around the corner. I'm going to say around the corner, because time flies. So super excited, always excited to every week to dig into some of, the passion that we have, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's go. Go Bucs.
Hell yeah. I mean, honestly, time does really go by so fast, and it's so awesome to know that we're just getting closer and closer. And the last, but not least, puzzle piece to this dynamic trio tonight, we got Carter in the house. Carter, how we doing?
The usual, just living lavish, just chilling. Excited to talk some Bucs football for sure. Definitely excited to talk it with y'all. How about you, Musab? How you feeling, brother?
So far, so good. I'm just excited as always. Obviously, day by day, and with all these sports kind of ending, at least for me, it's like the only one that I'm really watching these days is baseball. So I'm just kind of waiting, being the sports enthusiast I am. I'm waiting for all these, but more importantly, I'm waiting for some Tampa Bay football. So super, super excited and so happy both of y'all could join me. And listeners, I want to give a little quick shout out to Mr. Carter Brantley. In case you don't know, he is a freelance writer for Creative Loafing. So by all means, please do check that out for sure. And listeners, before we dive into tonight's show, I'm going to give you a few seconds before you forget and show us some love to us, of course. And hit that like and subscribe button, however you're listening to this, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. We're all on all of them. And for my social media enthusiasts, you can catch us on all platforms like, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at RBLR Sports. All right, gentlemen, let's just get right into it. We're going to spice it up a little bit, all right? And, today's agenda is, maybe deep down we always have these wishes, especially during the free agency. You see a guy, you're like, ooh, oh, man, can we get this guy? Well, Carter and Santiago, I want to know, if there's two players from the offensive side and, two players from the defensive side that you would like to have and, who do you need to give up and all that, who would they be? Let's just kind of get right into it. Let's kind of start with the offense, of course. Carter, let's just start out with you. Who is your first guy that, you would like to have? Who would you need to give up / why? Why do you think that the guy that you have chosen fits well / might just be a straight up need?
Yeah, so there's obviously like a wish list for any team really, but especially for the Bucs since they're Super Bowl contenders. You want to fill every need and every hole. The first guy that came to my mind, he's kind of a little bit under the radar. He's not a skill guy. He's an offensive lineman, a guard from the Philadelphia Eagles, Isaac Somalo. He's just a wonderful, wonderful pass protecting interior lineman. They lost Ali Marpet in the offseason, and they've got Luke Goedeke obviously coming in, but I don't know. He's a rookie. He's a second round guy. Isaac is more of a solidified. He's been in the league for a while. Plus, the Eagles drafted Landon Dickerson last year in the second round, so they've kind of got a replacement for him already. So the Bucs likely wouldn't have to give up very much for him. It'd be a 5th or 6th round pick maybe. That's my guy. He's a phenomenal pass blocker, a little bit below average in the run, but that's okay because Shaq Mason's the opposite. He's an amazing run blocker, maybe not nearly as good at pass protection as as someone like Tristan Wirfs or maybe one of his teammates. But yeah, that's my guy. That's my first guy, Isaac Somalo. How about y'all? What are y'all first guys looking like on the offensive side?
Yeah, Santiago, let's go with you, man.
Yeah, no. Honestly, I would, now that Gronk is not coming back. I know we got some young bucks in there, for tight end. I would love to see Travis Kelsey. If he would be available, right? I mean, again, we're talking about at this moment dream scenarios, right? He was second in the league in receiving with 1,401 yards, which is amazing for a tight end. But he is obviously a little bit pricey out there, going to be pricey. But I was looking at him because the best players want to play with the best players. So we have the GOAT at QB, and obviously, yes, Patrick Mahomes is a Super Bowl winning quarterback with the Chiefs, of course. But would it be, who would we have to, I mean,
Yeah, how do we turn this dream into a reality?
Into a reality. I know we would have to give up some players, of course. Possibly give up a Cam Brate, and then let's see who else. Possibly, it depends, because that's pretty. Ugh. Who else would we maybe give up maybe a Vita Vea, possibly, because even though he's a big guy, because you have to match, superstar to superstar, right? Because there's always going to be a big guy, and I know Vita. I spoke with him last week about him being one of my top 10, right, Bucs of picks of all time. But that's what I would do. Yeah, I would do that. 2 players.
You'd be willing to make that risk, huh?
I would be willing to make that risk because, I'm, the king in our, because every chess in the chess game you have your king, right? Our king is Tom Brady, so that piece will never leave, right? But the pawns, the rooks, all the pieces around him, can shift. Not all of them, certain ones can, right? But I would say, yeah, I would do that. Possibly give up, like a fifth or sixth round draft pick, as well, included with that, if it's possible. So that's what I was looking at. What about you, Musab?
Wow,
what do you think?
I mean, I'm gonna keep it real with you, Santiago. In my opinion, I mean that's a lot indeed. And I mean, I'm thinking, well, I want to know. I mean, both of y'all. I mean, it's just, I mean, yeah, if we give away Vita Vea and we get a guy like Travis Kelsey, and then, I mean, I guess that means Raheem Nunez-Roches is gonna be our starter. So, is that you're comfortable with that? If we were to get Kelsey, you would be fine with that, huh, Santiago?
Yeah, I mean, there's always some big, we got Vita Vea through the draft. We have a tremendous organization that scouts great, players, and actually we've done even before Brady arrived. I mean, look who we got. We have a long list of legendary players, and still to this day, like a Levante David and stuff, we got them through the draft. So I mean, I don't, players, great. But you know what? We're talking about great players that we want to fill in the holes. I understand that Carter went a little bit under the radar with his pick, but I want to go superstar. You know what I mean? Because that's what brings the attention. And Travis Kelsey, he's going to be a Hall of Fame tight end for sure. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's what I was looking at. Yeah.
No, I see where your head's at.
You got to gamble a little. You got to gamble a little bit. You got to gamble a little bit.
Sure.
So it's like,
absolutely.
Blow on the dice and be like, I'm going in. So.
Yeah, I mean, hey, just like my buddy says, Santiago, scared money make no money. Now, obviously, I'm not like the biggest money expert with all these kind of cap space and all that, but my guy is I say I think this is somewhat reasonable, at least based on the situation, at least on the Vegas Raiders, and that is Josh Jacobs. And I first want to say, how would we get a guy like him? Again, I think it's quite reasonable money wise, but I just think that I am ready to give up Keyshawn Vaughn. He's always someone like I'm like fine. He's a young buck, give him the chance. But then again, on top of that, another young buck, I guess I'm willing to give up. Someone I'm just comfortable because I think it's worth taking the risk, and that is Jalen Darden. All right, so Vaughn and Darden for Josh Jacobs. I think that's fine, just because the Vegas Raiders they got a pretty good running back room right now in 2022. Okay. And a lot of people out there, maybe Josh Jacobs needs to step it up, is getting competitive. He's been banged up here and there. It's almost like, he kind of started out high and then he kind of went down. It wasn't like he just completely went downhill, but, those things have been an issue. But he still ends up balling out. And more than anything, I'm looking for a role player running back. Okay. I got a lot of trust in Leonard Fournette, but someone needs to help him out. And I really do think that someone like Josh Jacobs can help him out. And again, look, he's kind of, I'm not going to say he's the jack of all trades kind of, running back or, the textbook definition either. But the majority of the games, he was actually getting some catches in there too. So he can do a lot of things with the ball. All right. He brings a lot to the game. I think he can help us out. And I don't think it's a huge hole that we need to fill, at least with the running back room. But I do think that it is something reasonable. He's a young buck. He's young. I think, he has a bright future if he stays healthy. He's on the right team or whatever. So even, stuff with like pass protection, he's a big dude. He can help out whenever he needs to. And that's why I like him. I just think that this is someone who has potential, who's already kind of, been seen as someone who's a great player. But it just kind of comes down to, the running back room is so competitive in a lot of teams. And I just think that he'd be better off in Tampa Bay. That's kind of really about it for me. But do y'all have any thoughts with that? How do y'all feel about this kind of running back room? Do you think this is kind of reasonable, or you're kind of like, what, let's just kind of give Vaughn and Rashad White, these young bucks a chance?
Well, I mean, the running back is a ground and pound position, so there's always that's a very competitive position. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, also, I was thinking of possibly also another running back, right? Like Alvin Kamara. He's from our rivals, the Saints, right? But that I would, I like his competitiveness, and that would be a killer duo right there, Leonard Fournette and
That'd be a dream, if anything, the way I see it, Santiago.
Yeah.
First Kelsey, then Kamara. All right. Look forward to see what you got next, Santiago. But, hey, listen, hey, man, I respect it and all that. But I have to say, man, that's going to come at a big cost indeed, for sure. But, hey, I like it. And, we'll kind of go on to our number 2 guy, Carter. I mean, if there is another guy on the offensive side that you would want and you think fits well, who would that be?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna quite go as far as some big names like Alvin Kamara, Travis Kelsey, just because I think the Bucs are already a Super Bowl caliber team. They don't need to be giving up first round picks or any big name players to trade for anyone. I think their rosters, obviously it would be wonderful to get Travis Kelsey, it'd be wonderful to get Alvin Kamara, but just the risk to reward ratio, but that's just me though. I'm cold and analytical and kind of heartless about these things. But anyways, I'm kind of going on a diatribe. But yeah, Dalton Schultz is my guy. He's the tight end long-term deal. I don't think the Cowboys are willing to give it to him. It's kind of this is a bit of a home run trade, swinging for the fences kind of thing. Schultz would probably command like a second or a third round pick, which is a hefty price for a player. That's a high value pick. But, he's a high value guy. He's averaging 700 yards a season at the tight end position over the past couple of years, a huge upgrade over Cam Brate. But the big issue is the money. Obviously, they'd have to rework some deals, use some voidable years to give him that long-term extension, because I'm guessing that, the Bucs aren't going to trade for a guy and give up a second-round pick just for a year rental. That just doesn't really make much financial sense. But who knows? Maybe they're swinging for the fences and they're like, hey, we got Brady for another season. Let's just do it. That would be lovely. That would be awesome. I think the Bucs would have an unstoppable offense with Dalton Schultz at the tight end position. He's a huge complimentary guy. But yeah, how about y'all? What are y'all's second guys for his dream scenario?
Yeah, Santiago, what about you, man?
Well, sorry. And we're still on offense, of course. So, I mean, like I said before, I mean, I already had selected mine with Alvin Kamara being my second player because he's only, he's 26 years old. You know, I mean, he's still in, like I said, the prime of his career. Because running backs come and go. You know, it's such, like we were talking before, it's such a ground and pound position that, you got to go running back. You have to go year by year, maybe 2 years, right? So, who would we have to give up? We would have to give up possibly. It's really tough. It's really, really tough with how stacked our team is, right? But then there's definitely holes. I'm honestly not sure, to be honest with you, because it's just that, oh man.
No, I mean,
So,
I'm kind of
yeah,
saying,
it's
oh
tough.
man, as well, Santiago. I mean, do you think? Listen, I mean, it's Alvin Kamara, so he's going to be the starter, of course. I assume. I mean, like he's going to be the kind of dude who wants to share the role either. So,
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to give up a lot for sure. But it just makes me think: is it worth it? Just because I'm kind of where Carter's head's at, which is like, I think we are a playoff caliber team, and I think by all means we have a chance to even win the Super Bowl with the guys we have right now. So, I guess I want to know is. Are you maybe not happy with the running back / do you really think that, Alvin Kamara is just going to help us like extremely? All right. But then you also have to think, though, I mean, there's always a chance of injury. So just imagine this, Santiago. What if he gets injured and we gave up a lot of guys? Then, I mean, obviously, we're not going to have Fournette, I assume, if we're going to get a guy like Alvin Kamara. So what does that lead to? We got guys like Rashad White behind, Keyshawn Vaughn. So Alvin Kamara goes down. So then I guess it's just White, Vaughn, and Bernard, and even Kenjon Barner, I guess, might have to step up to the plate. So I don't know. I just wanted to see kind of where your head's at with that, just because I'm wondering. Again, is this something I guess you're willing to be kind of risky about, huh?
Yeah, I mean, because with the type of team that we have, at this moment, what I mean? At this moment, because we've had, I wouldn't be as risky, let's say Jameis Winston era, right? Because we need to fill up as many holes as possible. But with what we have right now, coming into this specific, let's say, season, even though we're not doing it, but it would be like a dream scenario, and have Brady at the helm, I don't see us, even if we lose, honestly, some players, I still could see, players come in and perform, because to me, I've always said it, Tom Brady is the only player in I could say in NFL history that can take a nobody and turn him into a somebody. I mean, he just gives him that will and that confidence, and and they will shine. I mean, it's just what it is, and that's been proven. But yeah, I mean, I see where what Carter was just saying, and I understand that he's analytical, but obviously we're talking about dream scenarios here. You know what I'm saying? So I am going to that dream of, who can we give up? Possibly, maybe maybe a Shaq Mason. Possibly, you're right. Maybe a Rashad White, Scotty Miller. I don't know, possibly.
I mean, those are. I mean, one guy we drafted, one guy we
Yeah.
just scooped up, and then I mean, Scooter. I mean, I think is a solid depth piece. So it just makes me think, though. I mean, hey, listen. By all means, I mean, I would love to have Alvin Kamara as well, but I'm just thinking, I mean, this is going to be real costly for sure. But I do have to say, you know what? I guess, sometimes, if we do get him in the future, we get some other young guys in the draft. Yeah, someone like Tom Brady can, make a nobody into a somebody. But then again, also Santiago, I don't know how long Brady's going to be with us either. I mean, the guy's getting old. So I guess I want to know then is Blaine Gabbert or Kyle Trask going to turn these nobodies into a somebody in the future then if we get a guy like Kamara and we give up our depth pieces, huh?
No, I mean, like, hey, that's why possibly, that's why, in the future, I would love for us, if it comes to that, right, us to
Hmm.
draft Arch Manning.
Oh
You
wow,
know,
okay.
who
Wow,
is our, yeah,
we are getting
yeah,
dreamy and futuristic over here. All right. Hey, I
right?
like it though. I like it
You
though,
know,
Santiago. Hey, well,
because
I'm gonna
the
put I'm gonna
Mannings
put
has,
Carter in the
yeah.
hot seat though now a little bit. I don't want to get a little too jealous of all the action that we're going at it right now. And Carter, I only want to put you in the hot seat because my friend, I also chose a tight end. Uh, the guy I think that I would like is Pat Fryermuth. All right, this is from the Steelers only because I do think this is reasonable. I think fine, listen, let's just keep Brait, but I don't know. I think we just need to get rid of some of these depth pieces. We can work our way a little bit around the money. Again, I'm not an expert either, but I think it's reasonable. Just two guys. I'm kind of just like, I think we can kind of just get rid of them, and we're giving this kind of this young buck the chance, which is someone like Cody McElroy or Sedarius Hutcherson. I think those kind of guys, I'm willing to give up to get a guy like Pat. Only because look, Pat's a young guy. He just came off a pretty darn good rookie campaign. All right. He has all the qualities of having, becoming a successful tight end. It's just, I guess, it's just what we need, in my opinion. Seriously. I mean, he was sharing the snaps with Eric Ebron, and sooner or later he kind of just picked it up. And that's kind of just it's like that kind of ideal first year, the rookie you want, that you don't get immediately and have all these high hopes for, but boom, when it's his time to shine, he balls out, and he's a big red zone target, which I think is super super helpful. Just because it just irks me sometimes to watch our Bucs get so close and then something just obviously destructive happens. We're not able to execute. So I'm looking for an executor. All right. I mean, he was a leader. He led all the tight ends when it came to red zone targets. That's just something that stood out to me. Okay. And that's something that keeps me optimistic as well. So if we were to get a guy like him, I think he is extremely young and talented. Now, I mean, other than the kind of red zone targeting, it's not like he has some super special skill and not anything that I really saw. So, Carter, I guess I want to know, what does Dalton Schultz bring to the table that I guess someone like my guy doesn't? What is maybe what are the kind of qualities that you're really looking for? Do you even care about a red zone target, or you're looking for someone who's more of a playmaker, the blocker, maybe someone a little bit more like Gronk, I guess?
I mean, obviously, when you're looking at the tight end position, they do have to be incredibly versatile because, like you mentioned, they have to block a little bit. They've got to be they usually have to be a pretty good red zone threat. And, Dalton Schultz had 8 touchdowns last season. He had 78 receptions. I mean, he had a pretty monster year last year. But your guy, Fryermuth, is, like you mentioned, he led the NFL in red zone targets as a tight end, and that's pretty impressive. And he's obviously, like, they called him Baby Gronk coming out of Penn State. He's a monster. Yeah, I just think that the big problem with comparing those two guys is, unfortunately, the Steelers probably are going to ask for a little more than what the Bucs could probably give them, as opposed to Schultz. With Fryermuth, they might be asking for a second or a first. With Schultz, the Cowboys could at most get a third or a fourth, just because Fryermuth's still on that rookie deal. I think the contract plays a little more heavily, and his youth, as you mentioned. Fryermuth, a really young guy, only in second year in the NFL. So yeah, in an ideal world, I'd much rather have Pratt Fryermuth as opposed to Dalton Schultz. But yeah, unfortunately, realistically, I guess Schultz is just, he's not better than Fryermuth. I think they're about the same production wise, but Schultz is just a more realistic target, unfortunately.
No, I'm right there with you on that, Carter. And I guess I just want to know, do you think this is? I mean, do you think this is? I mean, well, you mentioned it actually, and I was going to ask is if they're going to be sharing a little bit, between Brait and Schultz, but I believe you said no. This is he's by far way better than Cameron Brait. He can definitely make some more action happen. So, and you know what? I do like it a lot. Just because we got some young bucks behind them. I think we need to see how people like K. Dotton or Keith do. They'll have their own kind of roles or whatever. But I do think that by all means that the tight end room definitely needs to be worked on. We did snag some other guys as well, but we're gonna just have to see how this plays out. And the fact that we picked up rookies and we've signed some people as well that, to be honest, I'm just not too well aware about. We got guys like JJ Howland and even Ben Bice as of right now. But yeah, no, interesting for sure. And great minds think alike, at least with that tight end position. Definitely a big need. But well, before we transition into the defense, I just wanted to kind of give a little shout out, and that is to shop.rblrsports.com. All right, just because look, we got some sick designs and liking and subscribing is free, but we got all these hot featured products for you. We add more and more as much as we can. And especially during these times where it's like we're like a month and a half ish away from, the football season. And a lot's going on right now. We got it all. We really got it all. And you're probably thinking, oh, well, I need to get some gear. Well, we got it right for you. Shop.rblrsports. It's getting hot indeed, so you don't have to wear a t-shirt. Well, we got tank tops, okay? We even got stickers if you just want to rep us, put it right there on your Mac or whatever laptop you got. And even when it does get a little bit chilly, or I don't know, maybe your brother or sister is just cranking up the AC down low and oh my gosh, you're freezing. Well, we even got sweatshirts and even face masks to honor all the legendary teams we got here at Tampa Bay. All right. And here's some music to any customer's ears. We got a little promo code for y'all as well, and that is Cannons, CANNONS, for 10% off your order. So there it is right there for you, and there's a link right in the description. Gentlemen, we're now going to take a little 180, and we're going to transition on to the defense, of course. Carter, who's your guy? Who's your first guy on defense? Why would you want him? And what does it take to get a guy like him?
Yeah, so I'm actually going with another Eagles guy. The Eagles are a really interesting team to look at depth-wise just because they still have so many picks. I mean, it just seems like they have 2 or 3 first-round picks every year, and it's not going to stop anytime soon because they made that deal with the 49ers. So they're rolling in young guys, and I think they're just going to continue to retool their roster. They obviously made the playoffs last year. So my guy, long story short, my guy's Javon Hargrave, an interior defensive lineman out of Philly. He's likely pretty expendable. He's coming to the end of his contract, and the Eagles aren't really willing to pay a guy that's not, he's not producing nearly as much as he was in his youth, but he's still a decent enough player. He's a good interior pass rusher, especially next to a guy like Fletcher Cox. And if he came to the Bucs, he'd be next to Vita Vea, and then he'd have Shaq Barrett and JTS coming off the edge. So he could be a really valuable piece, even just a depth piece with Akeem Hicks's injury history being what it is. And then just giving Logan Hall some more time just to kind of develop as a young player. They'd probably only have to give up a 4th or a 5th for him. He's not exactly going to command a big asking price from Philadelphia. So yeah, I mean, he's obviously a little bit worse off than Ndamukong Suh as far as a run stopper, but I think playing with Vita Vea and Levante David and Devin White, I think that'll definitely help in that area. But yeah, Javon Hargrave, I think he would be a great depth piece. How about y'all? Who are y'all's guys on the defensive side?
Santiago, let's go with you.
Yeah, I would like to, I'm sorry. I would like to go with TJ Watt from Pittsburgh. Because I like star players, man. I really do. I mean, it just, they're the best of the best, what I mean? So who we have to give up? We have quite a few players on our team that definitely we can, I wouldn't mind. Honestly, I would, wouldn't mind giving up. I mean, you have to be competitive. Um, I'm sorry. How about an Elijah Ponder, Anthony Nelson, or D Delaney, you know, some players like that. Like I would definitely want to see. And plus, when I look here at a player like, it goes in the blood, TJ Watt, also, his brother JJ Watt, it's just, they're amazing players. And TJ Watt, he's with the leading 15 sacks, 61 pressures. He was the most disruptive pass rusher in the NFL by numbers. So I mean, I like that, and was one of the best defensive players of the year. So you know, but that's who I would. What about you, Musab? Who do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's a push indeed for sure. Because again, I mean, this is T.J. Watt we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? This guy's an absolute beast, and I mean, I just want to know. I mean, yeah, surely we get rid of someone like Anthony Nelson, Elijah Ponder, and even D. Delaney, but I don't know if that's even going to make up for it. Slash, do you think that the Steelers would be interested in taking those guys and giving away T.J. Watt?
Well, I mean, also, we can definitely, put a seventh round draft pick there. I mean, a seventh round pick or, sixth round pick. Possibly I wouldn't say a fifth round pick maybe, but it depends. It depends. Each year, things do change. So, but again, it's we're talking about dream scenarios here. So obviously, players like this, teams like I'm sorry, not players, teams like the Steelers and the Bucs, they have, they're the ones that handle with the cap and everything like that. So, it's, we're the second team to, after winning a Super Bowl, to have every player come back. We work some magic. So I mean, the money can be there. Look like a player like Von Miller. He went from LA to Buffalo. So, and he's on a 10-year, he went to a 10-year contract over there. So, and anything's possible in the NFL. So, but
Yeah, anything is possible indeed. I mean, again, yeah, I'm not an expert on the money, but it's definitely going to be very interesting to see how that would work out. And I have to say, I mean, it would be a dream for us, Santiago, but with the guys you've listed, in my opinion, I do think that it might be a nightmare for the Steelers if they end up with those kind of guys, just because I just think that they're, yeah, I mean, they're kind of rebuilding or slash, they want to make some things happen. They just snagged the quarterback. Even someone like Pat Fryermuth, I mean, this is something that they would prefer to keep. So I think that this is a reach for sure. But you know what? I'm gonna tag along and ride the little dream train as well. And I'm gonna go for a little bit of a push. Okay. And my guy is J.C. Jackson, who is actually now on the Chargers. This guy's just an absolute stud, and we're gonna have to give up. I think a lot for sure. How so? Uh, I hate to say this, but we're gonna have to put up a starter. Um, the one that comes to my head is just Jamel Dean, and I think J.C. Jackson's just, um, I don't know, just I find him just better. He's an absolute stud, but it's worth taking the risk. All right, we're gonna have to work out the kinks with the whole kind of money and everything, and probably even maybe give up a future pick or so, maybe in the later rounds. Just because I mean, again, Jamel Dean is a phenomenal player as well, so it's not like we're completely lowballing them either. But you know what? I just think that we cut some debt pieces, all right, and we use the most of that remaining spending space on someone like J.C. Jackson. We can restructure some deals or some whatever to free a little bit more of the money. But that's kind of just and the reason why I think we should do that is because again, this guy was second in interceptions this last year. This guy racked up 8. Okay, this is himself. It was just more than the whole Chargers defense this past season. So uh, I think the Chargers are extremely, extremely grateful. Obviously, it came at a heavy cost, but this is someone I would just absolutely love. Just again, because our secondary, we've had so many issues. But again, I have to say, we do get a guy like him, and you know how football goes. Injuries can pop up here and there. So it comes at a heavy cost for sure. But I have to say, he is just someone who just could be a massive kind of like a turbo to this group of secondaries we got. And it would just be, again, it would be really, really nice overall dream. But again, I mean, this is something that's going to come at a big cost for sure. A little bit risky. I got a lot of trust in him as well, but I guess it's just I always just hate, when these things kind of pop up for our guys in the secondary, all these injuries. We've dealt with so much, and I would hate for it to happen again. But if I had to choose anyone, and especially, position by position, I do think that, we can obviously add some more to the secondary unit. And that's why I think J.C. Jackson would be an amazing piece to our Bucs defense, but he's going to come at a heavy cost for sure. We're going to have to give up some guys like a starter. I just say like Jamel Dean, of course, but I don't know. I think that's a need as well. I mean, both of y'all kind of went for the defensive end, and I got a guy as well. But I want to hear, what's y'all's second position? Because, I just went cornerback right now. I'll drop my little hot defensive end take. But who's your second guy, Carter, and why?
So my second guy is Javier Thomas. He's a slot corner from the Texans. He's kind of an interesting case because he started out with Cleveland and he was absolutely miserable. He was not doing well. Went to Houston, and Houston's kind of where players go to reclaim themselves or just waste away their careers. Who knows? But he went to Houston, had a really productive year last year. One of the best slot corners as far as pass coverage goes in football. He was top 3 according to PFF, Pro Football Focus. And, I mean, it's banking on 1 year of production. So that's always pretty risky because it's not a big sample size. You don't know if he can repeat his success. You don't know if he had lightning in a bottle. But based on last year's performance, he would be a big upgrade over SMB. Sean Murphy Bunting is just he's a solid, dependable player, but he's certainly not, he's not one of the best corners. He's not one of the best slot corners in the NFL. And luckily, because of Thomas's limited production other than last year, he probably wouldn't command more than a 4th or a 5th round pick, especially since he's a slot guy. And slot guys just, they're not outside guys. They're not Jalen Ramsey's. They're not going to command 1st round picks, 2nd round picks. They're not going to get a huge get for that. So yeah, Thomas is my guy. He would be, like I said, big upgrade over SMB, and I don't think the Bucs would have to break the bank for him. And I really have a hard time buying into breaking the bank with draft picks for players unless it's a quarterback, pretty much. Like unless you're trading for Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, one of those elite guys, probably shouldn't be trading away 1st round picks. But that's just me. That's I'm kind of conservative in that way when it comes to these kind of things because, you look at teams that trade away first for non-quarterbacks, and other than the Rams, it doesn't usually work out very well. But how about y'all? How are y'all feeling? Maybe you're feeling a little more risky than myself.
Yeah, Santiago. I mean, where's your head at with this? Who's your second guy?
My second guy, gentlemen, I'm going to go with – I'm not sure I'm going to go too risky, to be honest with you. I'm going to go with Joey Bosa from the Chargers. He's had issues with some injuries, concussions, but, he's pretty much, he's competitive. So pretty much, even though he hasn't had that many, last season with the Chargers, Bosa earned a PFF pass rushing grade above 90 in 3 of the past 4 seasons, and enters a season in which he will be more dominant. So, he was named one of the top 50 best players in the NFL as of right now. So, he is competitive. He's one of the best edge rushers in 12 games. He made most of his sacks, and when he was on the field. But again, that's kind of an issue, I was analyzing, and when I was looking at the defensive side, obviously I had made some more, I would say, like luxurious picks with that, but obviously I was looking at something different going through the defensive end, because I heard some of the players that, Carter picked, and then obviously you had picked right now, Musab, and I wasn't going to be repeating the same position. So I was definitely looking at something different, and he came across my radar. So, but obviously I was looking at also at Nick Bosa as well from San Francisco, but as well, he had a torn ACL last year. So, obviously when you come back from that type of an injury, you supposedly should come back stronger, right? Because your ligaments are all put back together, right? And then, you're actually more careful. And then who would I give up for that type of a player? Because that's what obviously we're looking at as well. Who would we give up? I don't know, like a Jose Borregales. I mean, somebody that really doesn't play. Possibly let me see here. I don't know. It's very difficult. Now we're going into, oh man, Jordan Young possibly, players that really don't play.
So then, I mean, I guess I'm wondering, as why would they want to take guys like Jose Borregales and Jordan Young for someone like Joey Bosa or even Nick Bosa as well, just because. Surely, I mean, obviously, it's not like they're all sunshine and rainbows and absolute beasts or whatever. They get banged up here and there, but I've heard nothing but great things for Joey Bosa, and I mean both of them. So I'm just wondering. I just think Santiago, we're gonna have to give up more as well. I mean, this is like we're kind of getting rid of some other positions as well, I guess. So we kind of wanted to just keep our defensive ends and just add Bosa to the table, but I'm just wondering, how is that going to kind of work out? Just because, I mean, we got JTS, Logan Hall right now, even on the other end as well, Akeem Hicks, people that I find fine. So, do you really think that this is like a big hole to be filled, and he can do that?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say we've done so much better, with the way we've been building our team in this last couple of years. It's so exciting to see our team now, than it was when Jameis Winston was at quarterback, of course, because nobody wanted to come and play with us. Now everybody wants to play here in Tampa. So it's obviously we have such a loaded roster that it's very difficult, and that's obviously more difficult as a GM because we're right now trying to do the job of what Jason Light has to do, because he has to, look at the salary cap and real numbers and everything. So, it's not, he's getting paid the big dollars, of course, getting paid that money, to help us go for another Lombardi. But, I wanted to be, look at different positions, because obviously I looked at Alvin Kamara, I picked up some more notable players. I was actually going, for something different at this moment. So those two players came up on my radar when I was looking at the defensive end. So what about you, Musa? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I do think that this is another kind of push as well, but I do think that this is a little bit more. We can definitely work the kinks out. I would love to have a guy like Brian Burns from the Carolina Panthers, another defensive end, and I only say that just because I'm fine with obviously Logan Hall and Akeem Hicks right now, but then again, I'm thinking about what happens. We haven't even seen Logan Hall play yet. I got high hopes for him, but we don't know how the future is. So then, I mean, right behind him, look, if things, things go downhill, Akeem Hicks, Logan Hall get banged up, we got William Golston, which, fine, I'll take it, as needed be. But then again, like someone like Pat O'Connor, I'm like, okay, things might, get a little interesting if someone like him has to step up now. So, and that's why I want someone like Brian Burns. And at what cost he's going to come at? Well, first thing is, I just kind of wanted to target this. I just think that someone, in the running back room, I think we can just toss out Bernard. And on top of that, I mean, I just want to throw in, DeAndre Sanat, and I just mentioned Pat O'Connor. And, even if, we can even toss a late later round kind of pick in the future drafts. By all means, we're definitely gonna have to work the kinks out with money, of course. Free some cap space in some other ways, just because Brian Burns, he is a young beast, and I know Carolina loves him, especially the fact that they got a guy like Hassan Reddick who is now in Philadelphia, so he's got a bigger importance. And I can imagine that Carolina would love to keep it, but I'm just thinking, why waste it in Carolina? Someone like him has posted back-to-back 9-sack seasons. Okay, this is the second most, actually, just behind Julius Pepper. So he's already kind of, doing great so far. It just kind of, for me, it's just like, before, everyone, recognizes how great he is, before he's really, really on the spotlight, I would love to snag a guy like him. Again, it's going to come at a little bit of a cost. We're going to have to work some things out, but I am willing to kind of give up some depth pieces or just these backups that, hopefully we don't see for someone like him. We can even toss in, if needed be, another second string as well, just because I tossed in Sanat, who's third string as of right now. So this one's like, this one, I'm going to say this one for sure is going to be the one that I think is worth taking a reach, just because I want to prioritize the defense a little bit more. I've got a lot of trust in the offense, I think, at least for the starters and everything. Our wide receiver unit, tight end, if we make some moves or whatever, I think is satisfactory right now, but for sure another hole to fill. So for me, defense is something I want to prioritize. Again, just with everything we've dealt with in the past seasons, I want to make sure that we have good depth / we got some strong young guys as well who are not just going to get banged up, who don't have a history as well. That's something I always take into consideration is, oh, this guy has a history of this or whatever. Oh, he tore his ACL, blah, blah, blah. Those kind of things can be very challenging to recover from. Okay. And then again, you get banged up again or whatever, things happen, and then boom, you're sitting out and it stings. Okay. So I don't see something like this happening from a guy like Brian Burns, but that's kind of just why I just want him is, I just feel like he has a very, very high ceiling, greater importance. Of course, I think he's going to ball out for sure in Carolina. I do wish him the best. But that's kind of just about it for me as to why I would want Brian Burns. But look, we all got a defensive end, threw in a cornerback as well. But, even like the Boza brothers that you added on, Santiago, is there – are these the positions I feel like that, we kind of want to target a little bit, or, the secondary and the defensive ends? So I guess that means, guys, we're satisfied with the linebacker unit, huh? I mean, we got JTS, D. White, Levante David, but how much have we seen from people like Stewart, Britt, Cam Gill, even these other rookies? Do you think we're just like, what? We're going to give him a little bit more time. Let's see how this plays out. Maybe next year I'll be saying some things with the linebackers. Or maybe, you say, what? We could do something. At the top of my head, Musab, I don't have a guy, but I think that there's a possibility that, we could do something and get a solid depth piece. I don't think we should just risk tossing out someone like Shaq Barrett, David, or even White or JTS. So I don't know. I'm just curious. Secondaries, defensive ends, we're all interested in, but what? We're all satisfied with the linebackers, huh? Carter?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, when you have two guys like Devin White and Levante David, and then you mentioned the outside linebackers, the edge rushers that are so good. It's difficult to invest heavily in a position like that simply because they have such solid guys out there. I think if they're going to invest in the linebacker position right now, currently, maybe they go the free agent route. There's some decent veteran pieces out there that they could acquire just to kind of be an insurance policy. But Levante David's not a young buck anymore, unfortunately. We all love him to death, and he's been tremendous in a Bucs uniform, but eventually they're going to have to move on from him. So maybe in the offseason they invest in the middle linebacker position a little bit. I don't know. I could definitely see it happening in the draft this upcoming year, but for now, I think they're definitely content with just running out the linebacking core that they have. But how about you, Santiago? You feel differently?
Yeah, I mean, we all get older, man. We all get older, right? we don't go younger. That's how life is, right? And specifically in this in the sport of American football that we love. It's we just pray that none of our players have a serious injury. Because obviously I agree with what Musab was just saying. With having an ACL, it's tough. It's very, very tough. It's just something very small that's behind the knee. And once that pops, it's over. It's gone. And you're rehabbing and everything. You know what I mean? And when I did my selection right now with with Bosa, Joey Bosa, which I named first, he's and out of the top players, he's ranked number 32, and he's had a few injuries, of course, but he was finishing the season ranked number 2 for the next generation stars, in 2020. He's an all-pro. He's a Pro Bowler as well. So, at least with a lot of the players that I have selected, it's top players that definitely, would love to play. With that, on the, what we were just talking about, the linebacker core, it's Levante David, Devin White. Those are 2 of our pillars right now, right? Like I said before. And I would definitely, I think, we're good there right now. Obviously, we have to look a couple years later down the road, and go get some young Bucs. But if there's any good, really, really, obviously, or who is out in the free agent market, right? But that's pretty much what I'll say about that, pretty much. So.
Yeah, no, I think we're all on the same page. I think we're all content with what we have right now. And I mean, gentlemen, before I, wrap it up, I mean, any kind of final overall thoughts, just about it all, everything we've discussed, kind of any hot takes or whatever. It's been really awesome and very interesting to see, what kind of guys we'd like for sure as well. I definitely like how we all kind of have our own differences and we all have our own different guys / different priorities for sure. That always makes these kind of episodes interesting. So shout out to y'all as well. But yeah, Carter, Santiago, anything else?
Nah. My hot take is that the Bucs are probably not going to trade any of their draft picks for anyone, just because honestly they're, like I mentioned, they're a Super Bowl contending team. They don't really have any holes. Maybe something crazy happens and, knock on wood, hopefully this doesn't happen, but maybe someone gets hurt and they panic and they got to trade. Maybe Mike Evans gets hurt or something and they got to trade for a wide receiver. God forbid. I hope that doesn't happen, obviously. But barring any injuries, I don't think they're really going to be dealing any picks away anytime soon. I think they've done all the trades that they're going to do. But how about y'all? Do y'all feel differently? Y'all think that there's definitely some more things to be done?
Santiago?
Well, at this moment, I'm pretty satisfied with what we have right now. We are solid in many areas. So, everybody's working hard right now over at One Buck, just because I've been checking up on the social medias. And they're putting in their work in. But, hopefully going into the preseason, right? And then going into week 1, all of our players can stay healthy. And even throughout the rest of the season, they can stay healthy. We don't have any major blows. They can, diet, eat well and exercise and do yoga or do anything that they need to do to maintain their body, ready for the season and obviously go into the playoffs and dominate there. So, and then, our goal is to go to Super Bowl. So, but I'm pretty satisfied at this moment with this.
Right on. I see where y'all's head's at. And I'm kind of same thing. This is just going to be the year where, listen, we've done what we had to do. We got some guys during the off season, pretty solid overall draft as well. And I just, I guess it's going to come down to, all right, well, we snagged some rookies on both offense and defense. Some of them are already, we got someone like Logan Hall, who's as of right now locked in as the starter. But even people like Zion McCollum, Luka Decky, K-Dot, and Rashad White, these backups, I'm really curious to see how this kind of unravels. So as of right now, again, I don't think we need to be trading draft picks like that unless some emergency situation happens. Then again, we'll see from there what happens. But that's just part of the game, and all we can do is kind of hope for the best. But speaking of the best, listeners, y'all the best. Seriously. So before, I leave you on a super positive note, of course, and get you all hyped up, we can't possibly end this episode without making sure we thank you all for listening. All right. If you enjoyed this episode and, you'd like to help support the podcast, please do share with others. Post about it on social media or leave a rating and review. All right. And again, a reminder, you can catch all the latest on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at RBLR Sports. And congratulations, you made it to the end of another RBLR Bucs episode, and we appreciate that. Show us some love, and like, subscribe to our podcast, whatever platform you're using. All right, so here is my little quote of the night. All right, in quote to kind of wrap this up. There are a lot of post-win fireworks upcoming in the Tampa Bay sky, and you ask me, what if we fail? Oh, listeners, what if we fly? And what if we fire the cannons, raise them flags, shopped out RBLR Sports swag, we the Bucs, so we can brag. We don't care what the haters think, because we got this in the bag. Well, that's all for now, folks. Thanks again, and as always, go Bucs.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.